Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the East First campaign series. We are getting ready to go into June of 1943, and the weather is fair everywhere. So we'll go ahead and get started. I think. Am I just deleting? Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. I think I just cleaned up some things. So there was no declarations of war. We go into the economy phase. I did get some factories off the Germans, so they're only going to be at 30. The British are at 28. Russians are at 38. And now we are into strategic warfare. The Germans are at +1 because they have their airplane in Stavanger, and they haven't quite taken against the Soviets. That's all they have. And neither one of us, the Soviets do have partisans, but since I have 4 fair weather turns, June, July, August, and September, I wanted to save those along with my surprise attack marker there. That can be a very potent combination to try and break a hole in the line. So I didn't play anything. And Germans rolled a 2, +1 is a 3. And the Russians rolled a 1, +3 is a 4. So the Germans got back a factory. And loss marker goes down 1. Seeing that, the British managed to get off 2 bombed markers last turn, so they'll be at +4. Germans are still at +1 because they haven't quite taken Brest yet in France. So, and at this point, I believe because I lost a factory there with the Russians, I think I go ahead and play my partisans here because I don't see it being useful except in France. And I don't see myself getting into France here in 1943. I still have to deal with Italy. So I played the partisan, so his die roll will be halved. He rolled a 2 +1, so that halved to 1.5 becomes a 2. I rolled a 3 +4, which is a 7, which is enough to get back the factory that the Russians let the Germans gain. So he's back at the same place he was before. And then I roll a 6 for my partisans, so they're not coming back in forever. Let's get this thing's off there. He does do a strategic move, I think. Not sure exactly. I know it's down here in the toe, is where his marker is. And I think he moves. His garrison unit that was in Königsberg, he moves it into Lien. So, because I have a convoy here and he didn't want to give me a free invasion and surround this guy and stuff like that. So, for the west, did I do anything? Yes, I strategically moved the low supply garrison units on the road outside of Benghazi and put it over in Gabes, just trying to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And Soviets didn't have one. So we get into Axis Action subphase. You'll notice in the new module, if you look up here, it actually says Action subphase. When we get to supply, there'll be a supply subphase. So that's more for... I added that because I always forget to do supply for whatever side I'm playing. So now it's a 2-step process going through operations. So hopefully it will help me remember. Anyway, Germany does the obvious. Let's attack the 1st Canadian. Attacks with the 4th Panzer. He starts off at 2 for German, 2 for armor, and 2 for isolation, and then -1 for the city that I'm in. So he starts off at +5 to my +1. And we go to combat commitment, which is like, we don't even need to really bring this up, but we go through the motions. He puts out his 2nd Luft, And then you have fighter command. And then we have to go do an air combat. I am a net of -1 because I'm -2 for sorties, +1 because I'm British. And he is at a +2. He rolls a 1, +2 is a 3. I rolled a 2, -1 is a 1, so I take 2 sorties. And he only takes 1. And then... But we both get in. So then we go and reset the... Now I'm +1 for British, +2 for the airplane. He is +2 and +2 for armor, so I'm +5. He is +2 for armor, 2 for German, 2 for armor, 2 for isolation, 2 for the airplane, and then -1 for the city. So it's +7 to +5. So he goes after me, rolls a 2, +7 is a 9. I roll a 2, +7 is a 5. That's just enough on the combat results table to come up with a diamond. So I managed to hold the city for 1 turn. We went and set his movement points. So he's down to 4 left, and he attacks again. Did we even bother to do combat commitment? No, we didn't. Not really. It was like, this is a no-thought thing. So now I'm at -3, and he is at +1. For the air combat, there was a 3 +1 is a 4, and I rolled a 6 -3 is a 3. So each took 1 sortie. And then we go reset the numbers. It should still be 7 to 5. He attacks. He gets a 6 +7 is a 13. I rolled a 6 also to get an 11, so I held again. So he goes and does it last attack with that armored unit. Airplanes go in. I'm a -4. He's a 0. He rolled a 2. I rolled a... It doesn't matter what I roll. I'll only take 1 sortie. I didn't. So... I don't even know why we bothered to roll. Put a sortie on his airplane. Anyway, we're back to +7 to +5. He rolls a 6 +7 is a 13. This time I only rolled a 4 +5 is a 9. That's a retreat. I thought about it. I could just flip the guy and stay there, but then the 2nd Panzer could attack me. I have no more air power. I'd be at a net of +1. He'd be a 6, 7 again by throwing the airplane again. +7 to +1 means that the 1st Canadian could very well be destroyed. So rather than do that with the retreat, I said, okay, play the naval evacuation marker. 1st Canadian goes to Plymouth. He gets flipped. And then the fleets, I just went ahead and put in Plymouth as well. He takes the city. Made sure that we flipped the control marker. And I missed it there, but I rolled a 6 for the Western... for the naval evacuation marker. So my markers are coming back in 6 months every time I'm using them, so I have to think about that in the future. Now he comes down here. What did he do? I'm not sure if he did anything. We're down here in Italy. What did he do? I don't know why we jumped to Italy. Anyway, he goes over to the east, and then he activates the 3rd Panzer. On retrospect, just thinking about looking at this position, I think if I was the Germans, if I was going to try and free that Panzer, I would have done it with the 12th Infantry first. Because if they can force this 4th Tanks Army, this guy here, if they can force him to retreat, then the armored would have been able to move out and get behind the Kniper. As it was, he started off with the armored unit, and he basically had to get a retreat there and a retreat here to be able to move him away. He had to retreat 3 units, which was not going to happen, I don't think, just by odds. So, anyway, showing off the flare on the map. Ooh, excuse me. So we go to, I think we officially go to combat commitment. Yeah. Of course, we both go in. He's going to use his airplane. That's all he can use with an armored unit. I'm going to use my airplane over here. So he ends up at a +6. Oh, this is the airplane combat. He's a net -2. I was a net -2. He rolled a 2. I rolled a 4. -2 means it's 1 each. So he got a... Now we go set the things. I'm a net +4. 2 for armor and 2 for airplane. He is 2 for German, 2 for armor, 2 for airplane. So +6 to +4. He rolls a 9, and I rolled a 10. So I stay there. So he's going to spend 2 more movement points. Throw in his airplane. Now it's -3 to -3. He had to roll a 6 to make a difference. He didn't roll a 6, so now we go here and it's +6 to +4 again. He rolls an 11. 5 + 6 is an 11. And I set his movement points down, and then I rolled a 1, +4. And even at a +4, an 11 to a 5 is a DD. So he flips me, and I retreat. The only place I can go, to Rostov. And then he was thinking he could just move, and I said, no, you're still in zones of control, and it's not the beginning of your turn, so you can't leave. And it was one of the things that he had a problem with was the sticky zones of control, that once you start your activation, if you don't move immediately out of the hex, out of zones of control, you can't do it. And I had had that armored unit trapped. If it had been me, I probably would have said, screw it, the armored unit's not going to survive. And I probably would have just run all this infantry away. I would have had the armor do the attacks that he's doing, but if it didn't work, I would just run everything back to be behind the sniper and form up a nice, decent, semi-decent line here. As it is, he tried to hold on to a little too much territory, I think. So he went ahead and took it, tried to attack the armored unit to see if he could at least kill it. I threw in my airplane that's there. Where's my mouse? There it is. I threw in the airplane that's sitting in the hex because I figured if he's going to make me retreat and take the hex, then I might as well just go ahead and use that airplane up because it's not going to be much use to me otherwise. And so it came out to being +3 to 0. Or no, it should be 2. And +2 for armor, -2 for being flipped, and +2 for the airplane. So it's +3 to +2. He rolled a 9. I rolled a 4, so I'm retreated. I go behind the river. And then he chose to not continue to attack. I said, wait, you still have 3 points. Do you want to attack this guards unit? He's like, oh yeah, I guess I should. He rolled a 4 + 3 is a 7, and I rolled a 7. So I used up my airplane to hold that mountain hex. Then he moved his infantry there. And again, at this point, I think I just would have said, screw it, the armor's dead. Don't worry about it. The reason why I say that, everybody goes, what? Losing armor? But you got to look at his will points. He's got 85 because he collapsed Russia, he collapsed France, he conquered like 9 countries. He has tons and tons of will points. He can afford to lose a unit here and there, as long as he keeps a coherent line. So I didn't think he really needed to try and save the Panzer. It might have been better just to form up a coherent line here. Because with this extended line, he's leaving me chances, which he shouldn't do. So now he has the Nor unit attack the Shock Army, I believe. And I went and used the airplane in Kursk here. So I'm at a 4 and he's at a 2. He rolled a 3. I rolled a 6. That's enough to do an AS on him. So then he attacks with the Africa Army. I just went ahead and took it at a 2+2 because I wanted to save my aircraft for offensive reasons. And he rolled a 4 and I rolled a 5. Then he attacked again. So I rang up my aircraft again this time. He got a 6+2. He got an 8 and I got a 6. And in his third attack, I think I left it at +2. He finally rolled an 8 and I rolled a 5, so I was forced to retreat. And then he kind of stopped there, and I didn't understand why. I thought he should go ahead and attack the 7th Guards or at least move this guy back somewhere. But he stayed there to hold the line. And then, what else did he do? The only other thing he did is he moved this garrison unit here to there to kind of be sort of a reserve behind the line, and then he was done. He saved 21 points to figuring on, me flipping things and having to rebuild them and get his airplanes back and all that kind of stuff. So there you had that. See, now we're in the Axis supply subphase. So it's now 2 steps there. So now we go into the Western Action subphase. And this was like, the only thing I really have to do is to fly the airplane. So I'm flying the bomber, and he asked me to trace it a couple times. And so he intercepts me, and he rolled a 4, I rolled a 5 -3 because I'm -2 for bomber, -2 for sorties, and +1 for being British. So a 4 to a 2 gave me 2 sorties. And I just said, nope, I'm not going to keep trying. I didn't want to run myself up to 6 sorties, which he might have very well done at a +1 or at a -1. So I just said, okay, bombing didn't work this turn. Fair weather, it's kind of hard if the Germans don't have a lot of sorties. And so I ended that, and then I went off and I figured out where my airplanes could fly to. And this is the 2nd RAF, and then I figured out where the 1st RAF could go. And so I moved the 2nd RAF to here, or the 1st RAF to Gabe's, and then the 2nd RAF went here, and then up to Tunis. And then I moved the American fleet next, I believe. The convoy, escorted by the American fleet, started moving towards Tunis. He could have intercepted me with the German aircraft and the Italian fleet, but he wanted to keep them for when the invasion actually comes. If he's going to stop me, he wants to try and stop me when I'm actually invading, which kind of makes sense. So he does it like that. So I get into Tunis. And then I thought about it and I said, I'm actually in my supply subphase. So I supplied all 4 British units out of here. I thought about it. I said, I'm just going to run this one up to 6. And then the Americans could have been supplied. He chose not to intercept any of my supplies there. And I was done. So we're off to the Soviets. The West is poised. Next turn. The reason why I waited a turn. Oh, not there. Where's the turn track? Next turn, I get 2 ultras and my airdrop marker. So I figured that might be the best chance I have of actually getting across, not only getting across to Sicily with my 2 surprise attack markers, but, actually possibly holding on while I'm there. So that's kind of why I waited. And now we go to the Soviets, and then I decide, okay, I have to get rid of this German aircraft if I'm going to try and do anything here in the north. So my aircraft went after his aircraft. He's a net -2. I'm -1. I rolled a 4, -1 is a 3. He rolled a 3, -2 is a 1. So I got lucky. Actually, we did that wrong. I was a 3 and he was a 1. He should have actually been 2 sorties. Oh well, wasn't paying attention. 3 minus 2 is a 1, and 3 minus 3 is a 3, so he got taken down. And let's see, what do I do next? So I start off with the 2nd Guards unit here in central Russia, and there's a Yugoslavian garrison. That's why I thought maybe he needed to move some units, because that garrison really shouldn't be in the front line. So I attack there. He does have a ground support, so we go to combat commitment. He did not, and I did. So I went ahead and threw an airplane there right next to him to get me up to +3 to his -2. I rolled a 7. He rolled a 3. -2 is a 1, so he's actually DD'd. He's eliminated. It gives me a no enemy zone of control there. So I go ahead and spend a movement point here to go there. So now I have 7 movement points left. And then I attack the Yugoslavian, because now he can't retreat. I don't have him isolated, but at least he can't retreat. And I'm at plus... I start off at +1, he starts off at 0. We go to combat commitment. We both do, so out will come his ground support. I throw in the airplane again, and then I threw a tanks as well. I really wanted to try and kill him in one shot. So I end up at +5, he's at +1. I roll a 5 + 5 is a 10. He rolls a 5 + 1 is a 6, which is only a retreat. So he's flipped instead. Then I go at him. Oops, going the wrong way. He doesn't have anything to play on that guy, so I just get to... Did I run him up my airplane again? No, I just rolled on the regular die roll. So it was 2 + 1. So I got a 3. And he managed to roll low enough at 2 -2, so I took him out. And I thought about, do I want to be in that hex? And I said yes. And then I did a dumb thing here. I attacked the Romanian. At +1 to 0, I rolled a 2, he rolled a 6, so he didn't fall back. What I should have done is I probably should have used my remaining movement points to just move across the river and keep the Romanian from being able to retreat, but I didn't. Or it would have retreated into Depnostric, so I could have tried to cut his supply. But I didn't do that. We took off the no enemy zones control. Now I activate what? Where did I go? Where am I going? Okay, now I went after the 10th Guards Army, activated. I went after the Romanian. I don't know why I went after the Romanian. I should have gone after the garrison. I went after the Romanian. I missed something there. Oh yeah, my first attack at +3, I rolled a 1. +3, he rolled a 3. So 4 to 3 didn't do anything. I said, well, that's not working. I wanted to save my airplane, so I tried it at +1 to 0, and I got a 7 to a 4. You'll notice something. Every time I'm at +3, I rolled a lot of 1s on +3s. So then I said, I'm not going to go after the Romanian anymore. Now I'm going to attack the garrison unit. He has a tanks marker available, so we had to go to combat commitment. I did. I threw in another airplane, just trying to make a hole here. So I'm +3 to his 0. I rolled a 4. He rolled a 1, which was nice of him, so he was eliminated. So I took the hex with a no enemy zone of control, and then I said, oh, 1, 2, 3, and end my turn in Depnostric. So now I've cut off the supply to all these units out here in all these guys out here. Where you see my mouse? Let me do a flare thing. So all these guys have got to now move back across the river to get into supply. So next I move. Oh, I got rid of his control marker. That's what I was doing there. And that guy's done. And I think I moved the shock army. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why I did this is I wanted to make sure that the Romanians would not retreat dead westward. I want to make them retreat southwestward. I'm trying to push him to the point where he can't supply these units, even if he moves them back next turn. So I attacked there at +2 to 0. I got a 3 + 2 is a 5. He rolled a 5. So I used up my last 2 movement points. Got a 5 + 2 is a 7. He got a 5. So the Romanians were not moving. And I said, you know, I'm going to go try something else. Let's go work in the north. So I activated the 3rd Guards tank in the north. Went after the 8th Infantry. I start off at +3 to his 0. He does have tanks markers, so I think we go to combat commitment here. Right. We're both committed. I threw my airplane up there in the north. He threw his tanks marker down here somewhere. There it is. And so he's +4 and I'm +5. I rolled a 3 + 5 is an 8. He rolled a 5 + 4 is a 9. So then I had to spend 2 more movement points to attack him again. Threw the airplane again, so that I'm +5 to +2. I rolled a 5 + 5 is a 10. He rolled a 5, which is enough to retreat him but not flip him. So I go ahead and take the hex and attack again, which is I'm just basically running this airplane up. I got a 6 + 5 is an 11. He rolled a 6, which was enough to force him to retreat. And I said with my last couple movement points here, I was just going to attack to the southeast. I'm just trying to open up some kind of a hole here. Or get ready to use my surprise attack marker next turn to break the Duna. That's what I was thinking. I rolled a 1 + 3. Hey, look, another +3 that I rolled a 1 on. And he rolled a 1 + 2, which is 3, so neither one of us went anywhere. So I won again. I rolled another 1 on the 1 + 3. And he rolled a 3 + 2 is a 5, so I didn't get anywhere. So that was annoying. Then I activate the 8th Guards. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And attack the 4th Infantry. So I am normally +3 and then -1 for the woods. Threw my airplane in to become +5, -1 for the woods, so +4 to +2. Rolled a 2 + 4 is 6. He rolled a 1 + 2 is a 3, which is enough because he can't retreat to flip him. So then I attacked again at just +2 to 0. I rolled a 1, he rolled a 6, so that stopped that. Then I activate the 6 Guards army and come after him again. 4 + 2 because he's isolated. That's why I'm getting that extra +2. And then he rolled a 6, so I had to do it again. Rolled a 5 + 2, and finally he rolled low enough to be eliminated. Took the hex, went ahead and moved ahead 1, and went ahead and attacked at Tallinn. Just for kicks at 0 to 0. Rolled a 2, he rolled a 4, so that didn't work. And then I think I go back down to the south. Yes, I go back down to the south. Think about this and say, what am I going to do here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and attack the Romanian. 5, 6, 7. So I have 3 movement points left. I throw a tanks. Did I throw an airplane too? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Nope, I just went +2 to 0. I rolled a 3 plus 2 is a 5. He managed to roll a 1, so he got retreated. I took the hex. Then I think I just attack him at +1 to 0. I didn't roll a 1 this time on +1, so I rolled a 2, which made it 3, and he rolled a 5. So the Iranians have retreated a couple hexes, but they haven't really been flipped or majorly destroyed, which I found annoying. And then my next move is I place a partisans on this guy here. And the reason why is I have a zone of control here, a zone of control here, and then I'm going to activate this guy. And he's going to attack this Romanian. And he's at +3 to 0. And I have 8 movement points left. And I finally didn't roll a 1 on a +3, so I got a 6. He got a 3, so he's forced to retreat. He only has one place to go. I take the hex. Now I attack the first garrison army, trying to chase it off. Rolled a 5 plus 3 is an 8. And he rolled a 2. That's actually a DD on the combat results table. 8 to 2 is a DD, so I actually eliminated that unit. I did have a known enemy zone of control, but I didn't want to use it because I wanted to make sure I got... because right now, I have this guy... Oh, God, mouse. What is wrong with you? Right now, I have him so that he cannot retreat in any zone's control. So I'm going to attack him. He will end up being at a 0 because he's +2 for German, -2 for the partisans. And I'm at +3. I rolled a 3 plus 1 is a 6. He rolled a 1, which was very fortuitous for me. So he got DD'd and removed because he can't retreat. So I went ahead and took the hex, and now I have 2 attacks left to go after the Nor infantry at isolation. So he'll be +2, and I'll be +5. He rolls a 3. I roll a 3 plus 5 is an 8. He rolls a 4 plus 2 is a 6, so he holds. And then I attack again. I got a 6 plus 5 is an 11. He rolled a 7. That's a retreat, so he has to be flipped. And then I'm done. And then I think I'm going to take these zones of control off. So then I think I activate the 4th shock. Move 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 movement points left. And attack him at +4 to 0. Rolled an 8. He rolled a 6. So I spent 2 more and attack him again. This time I rolled a 6 plus 4 is a 10, and no matter what he rolls, he will be eliminated because even a 6 against 10 is a retreat. And he can't retreat, so he's eliminated. I do not take the hex. Instead, I move here and here. And that was because I didn't want him to be able to figure out a way to get behind me and then maybe kill off my units and find a way to get himself in supply. This is forcing him to have to attack the shock army to get into supply. And then the coup de grace is this. I activate the 11th guards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And at this point, he just conceded. He said, there's no way I can come back from this. I admit it's not a likely chance that he would win because I have an extra year of the war. But from my perspective, I would have played it out at least a few more through the summer to see how far the Russians could get and how soon you could stop them. But he did concede here, so that's basically the end of the game. I would have moved there 9. I think I'm actually at 20 production points left. Started with 38. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 here, 17, 18. So I still had 20 points left. So that gives me a couple more units I can move. Probably this guy. Going 1, 2, 3. Ah, jeez, my mouse. 1, 2, 3 to here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, get around into Kiev so that he wouldn't be isolated in any way. Might not be able to retreat, but at least I wouldn't be isolated. I would have been 2 of them. And maybe I move an infantry unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, like, this infantry unit could move to here. And this guards tank army would go to there to hold Kiev. And that pretty much makes it really, really hard for the Germans to do anything. So, and that's the end of the log file. Now, what could the Germans have done? I mean, assuming that my mouse is really acting up. Assuming that the Russians do this for 2, and then run this infantry down here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably 7, 8. So that would be 3 more, and that would leave me my airplanes and being able to bring back... Oh, no, I can't do that. I actually have to take this infantry and put it in Rostov? No, I don't. If he wants to take Rostov, he can. I don't care. So that would leave me with 17. The Germans would have 21, so they can flip all their units. There's really not a lot more offensive action I could take. I'd rather get all my airplanes back and my units back face up because I have 3 more fair weather turns. In the German turn, he could have railed one of these armored units, say the 2nd Panzer. Could come over here in a strategic movement, and he could have probably gotten to here. This guy can go 3, 6, 7, 8, so that's something. These guys probably try to attack out of here when I get done with movement. I do have the Romanian that can move out, so he could go 1, 2, 3. Won't be in supply, but at least he can get back some. This Yugoslavian could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move this Romanian back to say here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, probably there to 8. Have this armored unit move here, try and attack the shock army, and then move up 1 and try and attack the this army. And then just, if he attacks the shock army, that's 1, 2, 3. Say he gets a retreat, then you can go 4, 5, 6. So maybe the Romanian doesn't move first. I mean, Romanian has to move first. So move the Romanian 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to try and nail that guy. And then maybe you can move, down to here and get yourself into supply somehow. This armored unit might have been able to break itself out, and then this infantry unit could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or something. So they could have gotten a really brittle line here, maybe. It's not much of a line, but at least there would be German units in the way that I'd have to at least try and take him out as best I can. And then up here, he would just have to basically retreat. You know, this wouldn't be on here. He could take this guy and put him back behind the line somewhere. This guy stays there. Put him there. Have this armored unit go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can actually finish there. So if he wanted to, this guy could actually finish there. So he has a very weak, set of zones of control to slow me down. And he basically was like, he's like, there's no coming back from this. You can. I mean, you can make a very thin line and hope that you get your things built and you break some of these guys out or something and try and actually pull this off. Not highly likely, okay? And he just didn't want to spend several weeks fighting a guaranteed lost battle. For me, if I'm the Germans, I'm going to fight that out because I want the Allies to have their at least this one summer of offensive action. This was his first game against an opponent, I believe. And, a couple of fundamental mistakes. You never ever leave a minor garrison unit in the front line because it's, automatic -2, so it's almost a free attack for the Russians. So that was something he learned not to do. And the other thing is he defended way too far north or far east here in this bulge from conquest of Russia. Yeah, you put a garrison in Kharkov and maybe a garrison in that mountain hex, but pretty much your line stays back here just in front of the Dnieper, so that when the Russians do come back, they're just pushing you across the river. He had too many guys exposed down here, so that when I pushed out of Kharkov, because I'm going to try and take Kharkov as the Russians, because that's a production factory. So if your line is, Kharkov to the Azov Sea, along that hex row behind that, if that's where your real line is, and then you can retreat a few lines in poor weather, you'll end up in fair weather either right along the Dnieper or in the Dnieper, with the Dnieper River helping defend you. And then you just got to fall back. And the problem here is that he was trying to hold on, I think, to a little too much real estate. With not enough German units. Now, he does have me stymied here in Italy. I mean, there's a full German infantry in Trieste, which I think is overkill. I probably would have a German garrison in Trieste because it's a 2 sea zone invasion, and I can't get any air up there. So that German infantry could have been over in Russia too. But he played East first. East first is a gamble. If you can get the Russians down by June of 1941, so you can declare on the Western Allies, you can collapse Russia by June of 41, then you can declare on the Western Allies in July of 41, even if you're not quite ready to go after them, because then the game will end in 1945. And this situation if this was going to end in 1945, this is actually doable by the Germans. Yes, the Russians get their 43, and they'll probably kick me out of Russia in 43, but then in 44, summer of 44, they're going to be pushing me across Poland, and then in the summer of 45, I only have a couple of fair weather turns, most likely, and if he's just barely at the German border here, and I'm holding him on the Rhine and the Alps, if I'm along the Meuse and the Rhine and the Alps by the end of 1944, then the Germans have a good chance of holding up, because with as many will points as he has, the Germans have to be, basically all their cities have to be taken. So, anyway, that was June 1943. This also concludes the East First campaign series. As always, I'm June43. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button. That lets YouTube algorithms know that people want to see this, and when somebody comes searching for Unconditional Surrender, they'll find this video. Until we meet again, stay safe, and bye-bye, everybody.